Cup. On the right-hand side, the Wolves, led by Bill McGarry, their manager, tough, tour, uncompromising, and a man who hates to lose. But old buddies there on the left with Ron Saunders, the manager of Manchester City, who led Norwich out when they were beaten last year in this same final by Spurs. In brilliant tracksuits, Wolves with the black tops and the gold trousers, Manchester City in their sky blue tracksuits with red trimmings. Feeling the turf now, trying to give the opposition the impression that they're relaxed and easy. And there's one man who would be relaxed, and that's Derek Dougan. 100,000 all-ticket crowd here. The 8th Football League Cup final at Wembley. The first was in 1967 when Queen's Park Rangers, then in the 3rd Division, surprised West Bromwich Albion. The day when Rodney Marsh scored a goal, which is something he'll be hoping to repeat again today. The supporters from the Midlands, from Wolverhampton, and this is the team they're supporting, and this is the team they'll be meeting, Manchester City, and they'll have their supporters too. At the tunnel end, the Manchester City supporters. Gary Pearce bouncing the ball there 6 months ago, a reserve with Huddersfield in the 3rd Division. Very much a mixture of youngsters and seasoned players. Manchester City here have won so much over the last 6 years or so. And here comes now the President of the Football Association, His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, with the various officials of the Football League. City players now being introduced by Mike Summerby, their skipper, to Francis Lee. And Rodney Marsh, a little hard of hearing it seems. Tommy Booth and Dennis Law. Can't get over just how relaxed Dennis Law looks. And that sort of spirit must go right through a side, invaluable to a side at Wembley, to have the spirit of Dennis Law about the dressing room. Colin Bell and Ron Saunders, the Manchester City manager. That'll be the turn of Wolverhampton Wanderers with their skipper Mike Bailey. Young Alan Sunderland. A side that is coming to form, although they've won only 2 of their last 8 games, the Wolves, will badly need the impetus of a good start here in this cup final, which promises so much between two sides who love to attack. With Derek Dougan, inevitably a word with him. And I think even if His Royal Highness didn't fancy a word with Dougan, Doug would certainly be prepared to have a word or two with His Royal Highness. David Wagstaff, who could well cause so much damage as one of the great natural wingers in the game, and Bill McGarry, the Wolves manager. Well, now the preliminary is almost over. The one thing that these 22 players are itching to do now is to get out there and flex their muscles and stretch themselves and ease the tension out of their bodies. Because they may have looked relaxed, but underneath I'm quite sure there are little quivers of apprehension. Referee Mr. Wallace of Crewe and his 2 lines are being presented there to His Royal Highness. So back to the Royal Box for His Royal Highness. Players now just waiting for the word to be told that the tracksuits can come off and the kick-in can start. And now the Manchester City side is, as you would have read in this morning's newspapers, the only doubt all week was whether Francis Lee at number 10 would be fit. He'd been out of the game since the semi-finals when he injured knee ligaments against Norwich City. But Ron Saunders decided that it was a gamble worth taking, and Francis Lee is in. The only question really that the Wolves manager Bill McGarry had to make was whether or not he would play Kenny Hibbitt or Barry Powell in the midfield. And as you can see, the number 8 shirt there has gone to Kenny Hibbitt. And now the Wolves team, the only decision that manager Bill McGarry had to make was whether or not Kenny Hibbitt or Barry Powell would play in the middle of the field, and the vote went to Hibbitt, with Powell the substitute. And here is Hibbitt, whose brother, of course, Terry, plays for Newcastle United. I suppose we could well have a brotherly double at Wembley with Kenny here, and Terry, of course, still very much involved with Newcastle in the FA Cup. What an afternoon for Gary Pearce. He's had only 14 games, or this is rather the 14th game for Wolverhampton Wanderers, now taking the place of Phil Parkes, who's injured. Tremendous ordeal for Pearce. So we come to the toss-up. Mr. Wallace, the referee from Crewe, his linesman, Mr. Williams of Sheffield, and Mr. Shepherd of Dunstable. The pennants with the 2 skippers. Mike Summerby on the right.
What's your pleasure? Best of luck, lads. Please enjoy it and have a good game. Best of luck. All right, thank you.
Well, the best of luck comes there from Mr. Wallace. Let's hope he has a good game as well, because he and his 2 linesmen are the 3rd team here at Wembley this afternoon. Duchess of Kent now in the Royal Box, waiting for the start of this 1974 League Cup final, talking to Mr. Len Shipman. So the League Cup final is underway. Manchester City kicking off, attacking the goal to our left. Sky blue shirts and white shorts. Wolves against them in their old gold and black. And the first touch now for Wagstaff with those long raking through balls of his, which will need to be a little more accurate than that, some 5 or so yards behind Derek Dougan. But there's Donachie then with the throw for Manchester City. Palmer getting in quickly before Law could settle on that ball. But now it's Marsh. Free kick given against Manchester City for Wolves. And already Dougan and Richards are in that Manchester City penalty area. Palmer now crossing the long ball, but not really accurate enough, just going off the top of the head of Colin Bell. Now can Wagstaff turn Pardo one way and the other? Pardo timing it well. And the ball just flicking off Wagstaff, giving Manchester City the throw. Parkin in first, and Doyle was there too. Hibbett with a long kick, stopped again by Mike Doyle for Manchester City. Here's Summerby. Another decisive battle there with Parkin against Summerby, and Parkin went in very hard indeed. And I think the referee's saying one more of those and you'll go into the book. And Summerby felt the weight of that. I'm bound to say I felt almost that Parkin made contact with the ball there. But it's a free kick to Manchester City. It'll be Doyle taking it, Law wanting it. And it's coming towards Dennis Law with that jackknife header of his again. Parkin had to head that one away for the Wolves, to Wagstaff very deep indeed. A long raking kick, and Doyle was holding on to Richards there, but coming away with the ball. Parkin in again before Summerby, and now Rodney Marsh. Well, he was stopped in one form or other by Munro, and there's the first touch of the ball for Gary Pearson. He'll be glad to have that on his 23rd birthday and first appearance at Wembley. Foul by Booth on Derek Dougan. So another free kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's young 2 or 3 yards inside the Manchester City half, and Frank Munro is going to take it. Dougan again, I fancy, might be the target. Sunderland couldn't quite get to it, neither could he at the second time. There's John McCall. Bell, a little toe poke forward, there's McCall again. Dougan in pursuit of this one. Wagstaff trying to retrieve it, and it comes again for Colin Bell for Manchester City. Here's Tony Towers, played forward for Rodney Marsh. Law, keen to get in on the act, and a nice simple pass but accurate to Towers. Bell and Summerby waiting on the right. Parkin going in a little hard, but not making the right sort of contact there. Bell towards Towers, he almost got it back to Bell again, and Hibbett loses it. Here's Bell again now. And that was a good piece of tackling back that time by Hibbett. And the pass there from Wagstaff to Sunderland. Here's the one for Dougan. Booth coming across to cover, and Richards again is waiting in the middle. Played for Jeff Palmer, only 19 in his first season for Wolves. And Booth nodding that one away with great authority towards Rodney Marsh. Here's Summerby. Law now sparkling away on the right, wanting the ball and getting it. Marsh again, couldn't quite stop it, but Donachie was linking up well. Well, he's gone past Palmer, there's the cross, and Pearce quite comfortably going down to get it. bright red jersey. Munro, Hibbett, Parkin, forward towards Richards, no foul. Richards really contesting everything there with Doyle, and he'll need to because Doyle is a great competitor. But here's John Richards again, trying to squeeze between those Manchester City defenders. Bailey wanted, I think, to test McRae, but it'll be a goal kick instead. Mike Bailey, who's not really had the best of luck over the last few seasons with injuries. It really is a sparkling Wembley shirt that Wolves have got. Now Pardo back to Keith McRae, the £100,000 goalkeeper they bought from Motherwell. Only conceded 1 goal in the last 5, McRae, and here's Francis Lee. Bell's header. And that must just construed, I think, as a push in the back by McCall on Summerby. I think the Wolves player felt that that was Summerby backing in on him, but Mr. Wallace's word is the one that counts, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. Just over 5 minutes gone. Marsh and Towers behind it. Booth is right in there. Now Marsh and Lee working out something. Lee, of course, is fantastic with these kicks. But this time it's Marsh flicking the way there, and Bell tried to knock it down for Lee coming in, but it didn't quite come off. And now it's Jeff Palmer. Sunderland, 2 of the youngsters in the Wolves side, and as yet Wolves can't quite get a rhythm going. Wolves slightly the underdogs, and it's they who will want to settle quickly. So often in cup finals it is the side that can settle to its game the quicker is the one that carries the day. And even as recently last year again with Sunderland doing it, it was they who settled the quicker. But here's Sunderland again, stopped by Donachie that time. And now Colin Bell. Law. The nod back for Pardo. Bell. Law again. Bell. And a good interception there by Frank Munro. Wagstaff. It's the Manchester City bench. Dugan trying to get away from Booth and being hustled from behind. Wagstaff giving the ball away to Bell, and now to Law. Thought he'd taken that a little too far, but it fell for Manchester City. But if the rhythm for Wolves is not there at the moment, the tackling is certainly swift and sure, and on that occasion unfair. Marsh putting it through for Lee, and that time Frank Munro again was there for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Getting through a lot of work in these opening minutes, Munro. Now taking up a position somewhere close to Law and Lee, and there's Munro going in again. But a goal kick to Wolves. Dennis Law with 11 goals so far to his credit this season, and considering he got a free transfer last summer from Manchester United, he could hardly have dared to think that he'd be here this afternoon. John Richardson, Mike Doyle. Sunderland's getting underneath this one, but it's Marsh's header. Sunderland again, played for Palmer. Richards hoped for the right sort of bounce, but Doyle again cut it out. Too high for Lee. McCall doing well, aware that Munro was there. Pardo. Parkin. And now Wagstaff. A long raking cross towards Derek Dugan. Nicely down with his head, and that was Sunderland's kick. Bailey in first as Marsh got it round, and now Dugan for Wolves. Bell cutting out that one. But again, Bailey covering a lot of ground there for Wolves, and a lovely pass there by Bailey for Wagstaff. And he's got the cross in as well. Dugan's waiting for it. It's for Dugan. And now for Sunderland. And it just wouldn't fall quickly enough, but then it had to be pushed away by Keith McRae. And that'll make Wolves feel a little better. A beautiful long cross, though, by Wagstaff. Nodded down so accurately by Derek Dugan. And Sunderland couldn't quite get his shot in quickly enough, but even so, it caused McRae a problem or two. So Donachie there at the near post for Manchester City. Pardo at the far post. Frank Munro is in there too. And here's Wagstaff with the corner. Munro is there with the header. Oh, and a free header, and a dangerous one from Manchester City's point of view, but straight into the arms of McRae. Pardo, Bell.
How many?
Well, everybody promised us that it would be quite a spectacle here, and you get the feeling that it's beginning to work out that way with so much space and so much skill out there. Richards, oh, turning beautifully, and Hibbett has gone on ahead of him. And here's Sunderland linking up with him, and Wolves now look to be a little more into their stride. Hibbett on the far side, and he's got a corner. So much a question of who can settle down the quicker. And Frank Munro is up here again. Well, he can hardly expect to get another free header, surely. Dugan is at the near post. Here comes the corner again, this time Hibbett with it. And Munro gets there, and Sunderland, oh, and he went off the post! Well, what a turn up there for Manchester City, as they won another ball from a corner. And young Alan Sunderland knocked it against, with a deflection, against the post. So an escape there for Manchester City, and here they are now with Francis Lee turned in and a little too high. Munro got that one away as well towards Wagstaff. Here's Pardo. Summerby. Stopped well again by Parker, and there's Dugan getting in there and getting a throw. And stealing 5 or 6 yards, which he's not allowed to do. McCall. Well, Richards had got in behind, but the linesman was flagging. Now, whether the whistle went or not, or whether Mr. Wallace said we'll allow play to go on, is hard to say. I think he said we'll allow the play to go on, which is a good sign that he wants this game to flow. Hibbett making a good run. But the attacking ideas for the moment are coming from Wolverhampton Wanderers and not from Manchester City, with those 126 caps in their attack. Wolves, who seem to have that little bit of extra bite. Well, Law is the man that Manchester City will be looking for, but it's Frank Munro in the picture there with him, who has done so well so far for Wolverhampton Wanderers. In goes Doyle. Lee looking for space on this side. Back to Donachie. Talented young Scottish player. Marsh. Bailey backing off him. Slid again here for Willie Donachie, but stopped once more by Munro. Having a storming game, Frank Munro. Bailey, and now Dugan. In goes Bailey again, and he's having a game, and there's the pass. Oh, and it so nearly was a winning pass there for John Richards. Richards had got in behind that Manchester City defence, and that must spell danger. And Mike Bailey, a tremendous ball, getting through so much work in that middle of the field. In fact, Bailey here again is dominating that middle of the field, which is a good sign at the moment for Wolves. Hibbett. Dugan going off in pursuit. Donachie again. Lee coming hard towards him to get away from the defence. But in fact he tries Dennis Law. Now it's Lee. Trying to get a 1-2 going with Bell. But Wolves, as they come forward, are far more incisive. City at the moment are trying the fancy things, which at the moment are not quite coming off. But here's Marsh, with a number of blue shirts up for him. And again, Jeff Palmer getting in and timing his tackle well. Bell now, back for Donachie once more. Law and Summerby on the far side, both wanting it in the air. There's Dennis Law. Marsh knocking it in again. Summerby there too. It might have gone anywhere, but it was a Wolverhampton boot that got it away to Wagstaff. John McCall now for Derek Parkin, and that'll go back to Gary Pearce. Quarter of an hour gone, still no score in this League Cup final. Doyle misdirecting that header under pressure. Dugan trying to find Richards. And Bell turning it back to Keith McRae. Palmer. Showing the pressure on him a little bit there. I noticed that Derek Dugan was clapping him though, saying not to worry about that one. Donachie now for Manchester City. Marsh is leading them, but Paul couldn't quite stop it going out, so it'll be a throw to Manchester City, which Dennis Law's going to take. And Donachie is free. Here's Marsh. Law. And the linesman directing a free kick to Manchester City. Which Donachie will take. Booth is up there. Bell in there too, watched by Parkin. But it's Booth on the far side who might be the dangerous one. And it went down, and Summerby's header stopped there just on the line by Pearce. Bell. Marsh. But no, it's Richards. Beautiful balance there by John Richards. And Bale is sweeping past to Wagstaff. Trying to play it in first time there for Hibbett. Summerby for Manchester City. Bell. Marsh. Accurate pass there for Donachie, coming up well again. This time it's for Lee. Summerby. And that'll fall for Wagstaff. Now he's got acres of room ahead of him as the old gold shirts are breaking out quickly. Bailey quickening it beautifully. Sunderland. Doyle coming for him, and that's gone off Doyle, so it'll be a throw to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wagstaff. Sunderland played onside, although City were appealing, played onside by Booth. Richards going in, and it was the fist of McRae that got it away. Bailey in now. Now Mike Bailey with a great chance. Stopped by Booth. I think City for a long time there were expecting the short pass, and I think Wolves were hoping for one, but Bailey saw that it was probably better to go on his own. But now it's Lee breaking at the other end for Manchester City. The shot to Bell. Shot such as it was. Well, we've seen one or two little flickers of magic from Rodney Marsh. Nothing that really looks very impressive so far. And John Richards has looked as impressive as anybody going forward, with some beautiful balanced turns. It'll be Pearce who takes the goal kick. Dugan coming for it, Booth coming with him. Summerby. Towers. Now Dugan. Free kick. Now by Mike Doyle. So Munro will take this free kick for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Straight at McRae. A free kick from a promising situation wasted. Now it's Rodney Marsh. In goes McCall again. But they're kicking every ball on that bench as well. So Tony Book there with Saunders. And now Marsh being released by that throw. Comes in rather than a malicious challenge there by McCall. And I think it probably hurt a bit. Now I'm wondering whether McCall is being cautioned or merely just having a severe word. Just a severe word from referee Wallace. But a free kick it had to be. And it's taken already, and Towers blasting one in, but surely they've got to come back because the referee is still looking at Rodney Marsh. Yes, indeed, it's got to be taken again. Summerby then with the free kick for Manchester City. A little chip in there, and Marsh couldn't quite get the header in. Summerby now with a chance to cross it again, which he takes. Oh, and Pearce was stretching and only half got to that one. Pardo turned in once more, and McCall and Munro get it back. Now it's young Palmer. Well, that'll fall for Dugan off Towers. To Hibbett. Taken from behind by Marsh. We thought that there was nothing foul about that. My goodness, it could hardly have been closer to the referee than it was. One of the great showmen, Rodney Marsh, for all that, whatever you may think about him. He's brought a lot of entertainment to a lot of people, and here's Kenny Hibbett all right again. And Munro with a kick, played along the ground this time. Back to Bailey there. And that's too high, and it's a goal kick. Coming up to halfway through the first half of this League Cup final. And still Manchester City 0, Wolves 0. It's Pardo. And again, McCall is in there. He and Munro looking quite formidable at the back at the moment. Frank Munro. Summerby. Oh, and Parkin chose exactly the right moment to get in there, and here goes Wagstaff. Dugan on ahead of him, Richards up ahead of him too. Sunderland coming up fast, and here's Mike Bailey again. There's the shot by Bailey. A beautiful sweeping move by Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wagstaff inside, and Bailey with a good on-target shot. Towers, Parkin, Hibbett. Good, neat, accurate play again by Wolves, trying their luck down the right-hand side with Palmer. Here's Dugan, coming away as he can from Tommy Booth. Oh, he nutmegged him. That was obstruction, and that's an indirect free kick. So Booth goes back to the 6-yard area. Mr. Wallace, who's kept a very strict eye on this game so far. It'll be Hibbett with the free kick for Wolves. Richards, Dugan is in there. Sunderland's made the break as well. Not sure what that was meant to be, but Wolves have kept possession. Munro playing it now for Wagstaff. Played inside again for Bailey. And now Sunderland the 1-2 with Bailey again, but Towers always had the chance of getting there first, and here's the chance of a break now for Manchester City. This is Lee with Marsh streaming down the left for him. Crossed inside, and just over the crossbar there, and it was Munro who put it there. That'll make his heart go pounding just a little harder, Frank Munro. A brilliant sweeping move by Wolves, a marvellous breakout by Manchester City. And Munro just turning that little cross from Marsh just over his own crossbar. Here's the corner. And Pearce had to use his fists, and Bell tried to lob it back. Munro is there again. And here comes Wagstaff, where so many dangerous things could spring from. Dugan now, watched by Doyle. An unfair challenge by Pardo. Again, a clumsy one. But again, without dispute, a free kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Leading that Sun cap at the moment is Keith McRae. It's going to be Derek Parkin. Maybe Richards is one he'll aim for, maybe it'll be Dugan, or maybe he won't even take it at all. Well, I don't know how Summerby expects to get away with that. He was, what, 2 yards off the ball? He's not much more than 5 or 6 now, but here's Parkin leaving it again for Wagstaff. Cross towards McRae, and Richards is in there. They really allowed Richards to go very loose on that far post to Manchester City then. Donachie. Bell. Towers. Comes back to Bell again. Donachie. Law. Towers once more. Munro cutting it out again. That could have been dangerous, and it's young Sunderland right back there in the thick of it in defence who got it away. Bailey. Oh, what a bad ball. Just about the first bad ball he's played this afternoon. But now it's Summerby for Manchester City. Sunderland back to Palmer, looking around to pick up Pearce. Again, Wagstaff to Bailey. And now Marsh picking up the loose one with Towers having won it. Lee. Oh, he's shrugged his way past Munro, but he couldn't get past McCall. And now it's Bailey. Certainly the only thing that's lacking at the moment is goals, because the football has been very attractive indeed. Richards. Rather an ambitious ball there that fell short. And now it's Colin Bell. Here's Marsh again. To Lee. Will Marsh get in? No. Parkin can turn it back quite safely to Pearce. Palmer. Here's Richards. Offside. Top scorer last season with 30-odd goals, 33, John Richards, and he's also had a 17 this season. They're a long time getting this situation going, because Doyle, I think, has got a little bit of a knock. But I think referee Wallace was saying if you want to get it attended to, I'm afraid you'll have to go off. Call having a battle with Dennis Law. Munro here. Now Dugan versus Booth, and it's Booth pushing down on the Doog. Free kick to Wolves. Now will Parkin take it? I think Parkin's going to take it. Certainly it'll be Dugan to be one that he'll aim for. Well, his aim wasn't very good. Mind you, Doyle's heading wasn't all that good either, and it's with Wagstaff for Wolves. Getting the cross in, and again Dugan was right in there, but that time Booth just got enough of a contact. Francis Lee. Marsh. The through ball for Colin Bell, and again good defence there by John McCall. They say he's the most underrated player in the First Division, and McCall has stuck well to Frank Munro, making a formidable barrier at the back there for Wolves. Here's Bailey. Hibbett turned on this time for Sunderland. Now, can Sunderland get a shot in? Here's Richards there too. Sunderland again. Oh, and Wolves tried to make it too good a chance when there really was a very presentable one in the first place there to Alan Sunderland. Law now for Manchester City. Donachie. Pace for the moment has slackened a little bit. The players feeling this Wembley turf, but here's Marsh. Donachie. Lee. Played for Towers. Everything concentrated on the edge of that area now as Bell and Parkin and McCall all contest for the ball, and it's McCall who finds Wagstaff. Parkin. Bailey to Sunderland. Played again accurately, this time for Richards. Now, has he got the pace to get beyond Doyle? Almost got that left foot shot in. Hibbett playing it back to Wagstaff, lying back. Such a foxy character, David Wagstaff. Former Manchester City player, of course, way back. Playing a little bit deep. Stringing out some great passes there for Dugan and Richards at the moment, Wagstaff. And so too is Mike Bailey on the ball at the moment for Wolves. Here's Monroe. Richards. Chance to cross that one, but not cross too accurately. So those two marksmen, Dugan we see there, Richards we saw a moment ago. As yet not on target for Wolves, still 0-0 though. And neither is Mike Summerby. Had a fairly quiet game so far, Michael Summerby. And Francis Lee. Nice backward header there by Bell. Pardo going in. Well, Parkin beaten by Summerby, and Parkin is injured, and Summerby goes on. Played back for Towers, and there was a misunderstanding there between Bell and Towers. And there's a free kick given to Manchester City. Well, Towers is injured here, Parkin is injured there. Neither, I think, badly hurt. Doyle has had his troubles as well. Talking to linesman Mr. Williams. Being told there should be no coaching from the bench, I think. But in fact, it's not coaching from the bench because it's a little bit of treatment for Mike Doyle. Derek Parkin is all right again, but not yet Tony Towers. There's been entertainment in this cup final so far for everybody here. Whether you're in the Royal box, whether you're standing behind a goal, I think most people would agree that there's been a fair bit of entertainment value. Well, those two there, Bell and Marsh, deciding how this free kick is going to be taken for Manchester City. Or maybe it's a little more than that. There's the wall they've got to pierce. And there's another Pearce they've got to pierce, Gary Pearce. And that's the view he's got, wanting the wall to give him at least a view of it. The wall's got to go back 10 yards now, as both Parkin and Towers are all right again. A free kick to Manchester City. Now, what are they going to come up with this time? Marsh. Oh, pushed away right at the very last by Pearce. A good save by him, because it was another of those Rodney Marsh spectaculars. Curling it, but not curling it quite enough. So Pearce did well. Here's the corner. Hit a lot firmer that time, and not away yet. Wagstaff following it out, and a goal kick. Well, that's one of his specialities, Rodney Marsh, the bender. Pearce did so well. Well, the kick's got to be taken again, possibly because the ball didn't go outside the area. Maybe they didn't take it from the right side. So a goal kick then to Wolves, to be taken by their goalkeeper Gary Pearce. Straight to Towers. Munro heading that one away to Hibbett. Pardo turning it in again. Munro up once more. Bailey helping it on its way. Finding Palmer. Doyle in first, intercepting it well, but the header only goes to David Wagstaff. Look at that for a beautiful pass this time to Hibbett. And this is a chance now for Richards. No, and he's wide. Again, it started with Wagstaff, turned on again, and Richards for a moment seemed to be in there clearly with a clean chance. But it went wide. And McRae coming out so quickly, did himself no good at all. So McRae getting treatment there from Terry Alcock. Law and Lee, two of the most experienced players in this Wembley Cup final, two great extroverts, wanting to pull out something to put Manchester City in front again now. Still 0-0. A youngster learning, I would have thought, with every minute of this cup final game by young Jeff Palmer, only 19, his first season. So McRae all right. And it's a goal kick then to be taken by Keith McRae for Manchester City. Summerby to Bell. McCall. Wagstaff. Rifling that pass to Sunderland. Didn't quite get the proper hold on it then. Bell to Donachie. Munro, Lee. A little flick and Bell leaving it for Marsh, but Bailey was there first. Hibbett going in, Towers going in, Bell going in, and Towers again, and finally it comes free for Manchester City, and it's Donachie. Here's Marsh in a bit of space now. Still with Rodney Marsh until Mike Bailey, who really has kept Wolves going so well so far this afternoon. If Wolves have the slight edge in this game so far, it's mostly due to Mike Bailey in the middle of the field, as well as to Frank Munro at the back. But Bailey, who really has dominated the midfield, helped by Hibbett, and at the moment they're rather subduing the likes of Towers and Marsh and Bell. Bailey this time for Sunderland. In went Donachie. Here's McCall. Left-footed, but not quite accurate enough. Wagstaff coming in from that touchline again. Slipping Pardo. Can he do the same to Bell? Here's the cross again. Doyle only half got ahead to that one, and Donachie just saved the corner. Actually, that was hit very firmly and dipping all the time by Wagstaff, and not surprising that Doyle misjudged it a little. So Dugan waits. So too does John Richards. And it's Bailey who will take the throw. Keeping might expect a longish one from Mike Bailey, the Wolves skipper. No, it's a short one. To Alan Sunderland. Now with Palmer. Bell acrobatically getting it away to Pardo. Here's Wagstaff again, the little touch now. Give it in a bit of space and a chance to cross it again. That hard-hit cross. And Donaghy now to Towers. Nice pass there to Summerby. First time we've seen Mike Summerby on this side of the field. Marsh. Taking a little time to build up there, and Wolves have got a lot of players back, but Lee, and now Marsh again, tucked through again for Law. Lee hit first time, and again it's wide. Certainly a contrast in the way these two sides come forward, with the little flicks, little bits of graceful football there from Manchester City, and the much more direct, and at the moment more dangerous looking probes of Wolves. Lee, a back flick. Munro. Now Palmer. Richards versus Doyle. Palmer. Bailey. We saw that Hibbett was free, but he went off Marsh to Lee. Law is up in front. Summerby is there too. A bad pass though by Francis Lee, giving Parkin his chance, and he made the most of it. Dugan now for Sunderland, and away go Wolves, and Dugan is there to pick up the pieces again. Played back for Hibbett. Wagstaff again waiting on the touchline. A Wolves player down and injured. I think it's Derek Dugan. He got hit in the face there, but here's Wagstaff coming on. Sunderland trying to get a 1-2 going. And I think that's going to be a free kick to Manchester City. Foul by Wagstaff. So Derek Dugan can get some treatment now from Sammy Chung. Well, there's a good-looking crowd here today in every respect. So the old Warriors all right, Derek Dugan. Took quite a knock there by the look of it. Call in with the header, Sunderland 2. And Dugan beaten by Tommy Booth. And now Towers to Marsh with 2 minutes to go to half-time. What a good time for anybody to score, let alone in the cup final, as Lee tries to get in the shot. Sunderland is there too, and it's Hibbett who gets the long ball away. Booth taking no chances, but Wolves will get the throw. Dugan was hoping that someone would be up quickly enough. Hibbett. Bailey again. Marsh was claiming that was handball. It's with Palmer. And now Sunderland. Back for Palmer again. Now, is this the moment? Hibbett with a shot! Yes! Wolves go into the lead! And it's Kenny Hibbett who does it! With a minute to go to half-time. So the breakthrough that Wolves wanted, as the ball came over from the right, it was Hibbett who got the shot, beyond McRae. And that is 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers with a minute to go Pearce to Marsh. A deep cross, Summerby on the far side, and that time it was Derek Parkin tucking it away for the corner. Tremendous incentive now to Wolves. They came here slightly the underdogs. So important that they hold out now to half-time. Summerby with the corner. In injury time at the end of the first half, Booth is in there, and Munro, who's had a storming first half, gets it away for Wolves. Dugan is there, and now it's Lee. They really have been stung now, Manchester City, looking to put things right. Lee going in, and Hibbett passed back to Pearce. Now Palmer for Wolves. Here's Dugan. There really is a spring in that stride still, and that pass didn't quite come off for Alan Sunderland though. McRae gathers. Mind you, Manchester City were behind when they were here in 1970 against West Bromwich Albion and came back to win 2-1. But there's Richards going in now, and McRae gathering it well, taking quite a buffeting there from John Richards. It's a free kick to Manchester City. So Kenny Hibbett, the man who only came in at the last moment, it was between him and Barry Powell, and Bill McGarry decided that he would not risk Barry Powell, who was a little short of match fitness. And that gamble certainly has come off, especially for all the fans who've come down from the Midlands to support the Wolves here at Wembley. And now it's Munro. Donachie into space for Marsh, but that space is filled again by McCall. 2 minutes of injury time at the end of the first half, and Parkin goes racing in there to turn it back. Referee looking at his watch for the end of the first half. Palmer taking it up again for Wolves. Bailey. Goodness, if anybody deserves to be in the lead this afternoon, it's Mike Bailey. Free kick to Wolves again, and it's Bailey who's going to take it. Fantastic inspiration to his side, that number 4, but he's left it to young Jeff Palmer. Almost the last kick of the first half. Free kick then for Wolves towards John Richards. Oh, and McRae completely missed that one. Well, that was a funny old piece of goalkeeping, to be honest. He was under pressure from John Richards, but McRae holding his head in the first place and his back in the second. Well, it was a free kick. Back header there by Bell. And a free kick again to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Nearly 4 minutes of injury time played at the end of this first half. Munro with it to Mike Bailey. Played again here for Palmer. Can he keep it in? He can. It's hit first time, but it'll go behind. And that's a goal kick. Summerby a back header. Munro tidying it up well, but he took a push in the back there, the Manchester City player, so it's a free kick now to City. Really want to get on with it to try and get one back before half-time. 1-0 down, Donachie's cross, Pearce is in there, and he had to punch that one away as Lee went in. And in fact, he's being applauded by his teammates because he changed his mind at the last moment. As Lee went in, Pearce, I think, in the first place thought about catching it. Really fisted it away before it became too dangerous as the whistle goes for half-time. Mike Bailey, the skipper of Wolves, who's inspired them into this one-goal lead at half-time. A goal that has been scored by Kenny Hibbitt, the man who only came into the side this morning. Wolves impressive in the way that they've been so direct in their attacking. Manchester City fanciful, but as yet not very effective. The Wolves crowd delighted with the way it's gone so far. And I think we can promise you a scintillating second half as we leave you with a half-time score here at Wembley in this League Cup final. Manchester City 0, Wolves 1, and we'll be back too. Welcome back then. The question being, can Manchester City pull back this goal before the end of normal time? Remember, there's no extra time in this cup final. If a replay is needed, it is later this month at Stoke. So welcome back then to Wembley Stadium. The question now being, can Manchester City pull back this goal? So welcome back then to Wembley Stadium. The question being, can Manchester City pull back this goal, which Wolves, I think, deservedly have gone into the lead before half-time with that goal by Hibbitt, looking the more positive side, settling just a little quicker than Manchester City. And the ball went fractionally out of play there. Certainly Manchester City, here's Hibbitt, the man who scored it. Certainly has plenty of experience in this Manchester City side. Indeed, 6 of them are surviving from the side that won the Cup here, the League Cup in 1970. Pardo, Doyle, Summerby, Bell, Lee and Booth. So there's a fair bit of Wembley experience, and Rodney Marsh, of course, who played in the first Cup final of all of the League Cup here at Wembley in 1967 and scored. Here's Towers, one of the more recent members of the Manchester City side. Donachie playing it in again for Marsh. But here's Summerby, and that time it was Hibbitt getting it away, but only getting it away to Palmer, who could take no chances whatsoever, not at all sure where Donachie was. And so it's a throw now to Manchester City. Marsh coming for this one. Munro getting it away. So Donachie tries instead. That time it was Bailey out there. But here's Donachie again, and again Bailey coming in there. But still Donachie persisting and winning the corner. So a corner then to Manchester City. And every time they come forward, it's at that end where their supporters are massed, encouraging them. Booth has gone up for this one, taken by Summerby. Marsh is in there, but it's over the heads of them all. And Wexler now with the chance to make a quick break for Wolves. Dugan on ahead of him, and Doyle coming in hard on Dugan. Taking it to the corner flag. Yes, there was a rather wild kick in the back by Doyle on Dugan. And so Wolves now will get a free kick. Hibbitt will take it. Dugan, Richards, Sunderland are in that Manchester City penalty area. There's Dugan. Hibbitt now then with the free kick. A deep one again. Donachie and Richards hustling after this ball. So Bailey now will take the throw for Wolves. They'll be looking for a second goal to consolidate. Back for Sunderland. Here's for Palmer. Gone past Lee. Towers inching him out and making the angle impossible. Geoff Palmer only scored one goal this season, but it was a truly tremendous goal that he scored at Tottenham. Summerby in. Palmer away. Booth was up that time, and it'll fall for Rodney Marsh. Lee's pass inside, stopped again by John McCall. Munro. It's a growing confidence in this Wolves side now as Hibbett takes it up. Dugan coming away from Booth. Played this time for Derek Parkin. Wagstaff free away on the left. Here he is. He's given Pardo so much to think about this afternoon, and he's done it again. Beautiful play once more. Parkin to Bailey. Looking very composed at the moment, Wolves. Sunderland turning that one off nicely and accurately for Palmer. Played on nicely again for Sunderland to carry it on. And that time it was Bell who turned it away to Donachie. Now it's Lee. Lee and Bailey, which gives a free kick to Manchester City. Bill McGarry giving his instructions there from the bench, and I would have thought looking at his watch from time to time as this second half goes on, wondering whether his Wolverhampton underdogs can hold out this 1-0 lead. There's the pass from Wagstaff to Dugan again. Doyle coming across, Dugan trying to push it one side, run the other. A little optimistically. Parkin v Summerby. Bailey. And Munro turning it back to Pearce. McCall. Parkin. Flicked on very nicely into a lot of space there for Hibbett, and Hibbett now attacking this Manchester City defence, looking for the second goal, but it hits Booth. Booth, just about the oldest journalistic cliche of all is end-to-end play, but that really is what we've got with a vengeance this afternoon, as Summerby now takes it up for Manchester City. Did that cross the line? Apparently it didn't. And Towers now. Oh, and that was so close. From Tony Towers. Harry Pearce asking referee Dave Wallace which side the goal kick should be taken from, and it's the right-hand side of the goal. Neither side really noted for their defence, but it's the Wolves' defence that has looked the more composed, I think, with Munro and McCall quite outstanding at the back. Dugan getting there first, but nodding it on only for Pardo. Here's Bell. A fairly anonymous sort of game so far, Colin Bell. Donachie. Lee. City at the moment have not really played up to their reputation. Parkin taking the ball, and I think a little aggrieved that a free kick's given against him. I think there is something to be said for his argument. But referee David Wallace didn't see it that way. He's given a free kick to Manchester City. Summerby and Pardo. It's Summerby, in fact, who takes it. And it was Palmer who got in there to nod it away for the corner now to Manchester City. And it's this sort of pressure they've got to keep on Wolves now, in the hope that they can find that one vital breakthrough. And it might be coming now. No, kicked away by Palmer. Oh, and Lee just over. What an escape again for the Wolves. First of all from Booth, and the shot cleared off the line, and then when it came back in again, Francis Lee just over. So it'll be goal kick, with Pearce taking it, and the pressure for the moment is on the Wolves. Dugan is up there, Hibbett, and now Wagstaff. Cup final that really has burst into life now in this second half. Good enough in the first, but really burst to life now as Bailey gets that one over. And Donachie battling away with Dugan. A foul by Dugan. Now it's Palmer. Donachie, Marsh. And now it's Pardo. Summerby. And now it's with Colin Bell. From Glyn Pardo. Richards hoping to get there first, but again Doyle was there and he's found Glyn Pardo. Doyle now picking up the loose one, finding Bell, a lot of space over on the left, and there's Donachie filling it. The cross there towards Law. Oh, and a good piece of anticipation there by Pearce. Well, there was a question mark earlier against Gary Pearce, but he's done all that Wolves would have wanted so far. Now Sunderland, space for him. And here's Hibbett. Hadn't quite got the legs, but Sunderland is there, snatching at his shot. And furious with himself for doing it. Booth pushing Dugan. Free kick then to Wolves. Quickly taken, and here's Parkin. No, taken just a little too quickly. So a free kick for Wolves. There'll be Wagstaff and Hibbett behind it. It's going to be Wagstaff. The little chip. Dugan is in there too, and McRae a safe catch. Summerby is up. Marsh is taking it up. Summerby taking on Palmer, beating him, and straight in the arms that time of Pearce. By Pearce that came straight to Wagstaff here. Sunderland spraying it about well at the moment, Wolves. Although you also get the impression that Manchester City have cut out a lot of the fancy frills of the first half and are looking a little more positive themselves. But a free kick at the moment to Wolves with 12 minutes of the second half gone. So a free kick, which Hibbett is going to take. Richards, Dugan, Sunderland there, Wagstaff on this far side. Dugan is probably the main target, although he ran across the goal and it was Richards who got the connection. But now Bell, volley. Summerby, a beautiful ball there from Francis Lee. Summerby versus Monroe. Throw for Manchester City. Marsh Still with Marsh, the little cross, and again Pearce is there. Feeling much more at home now, Gary Pearce. Wagstaff in for Parkin. Bad ball. Towers. That'll come for Summerby. Law jockeying about for position there in the Wolves penalty area. Summerby now with time to make it a good cross as Law goes in again, and again Gary Pearce is there. Palmer. Dugan v Booth, and Booth getting a good defensive header in. Towers to Bell. Marsh, Booth, Donachie, Towers again. Played this time for Rodney Marsh. And he's got it in well. Oh, and this is a chance for Bell, and he's taken it, and then it's 1-1. Rodney Marsh, the architect again, with all the cheek in the world on that far side, found the space, got in the cross, which beat them all and fell for Bell. And with a chance like that, he couldn't afford to make a mistake. 1-1. Certainly City have looked the better side in this second half than they did in the first. Bailey, and Mike Bailey really has got to take a grip on it again for Wolves. Palmer, here comes the cross again, and McRae is behind it. By Munro on Francis Lee, and Munro is going to be blocked. Frank Munro, a stalwart in this Wolves defence throughout the first half and through the early minutes of this second half, goes into the book for that foul on Francis Lee. And now this 74 League Cup final really is on the ball. All the prophecies were that it was going to be a great final. The skills have certainly been there, and now we've got the goals as well as we stand at 1-1. McCall getting that one away, but not quite as he intended. And Summerby quite prepared to let that one go for the throw to Manchester City. Law, first to react, beating them all. And getting it in straight to Pearce. Cup final now that really is on a knife edge. Bailey, Hibbett playing it on for Sunderland, but beaten there by Willie Donachie. And here's Marsh again, really in his element. Little slice pass there to Donachie, who should keep that in, yes. Law. Now it's McCall. Palmer. Cross towards John Richards. Oh, and that very nearly went for him. In goes McCall again. Superb game he's had. Doyle. All stopped by Bailey. Looked a little on the wild side, but I think probably it looked worse than it was. But again, a free kick. But a really good competitive game with a lot of skill to it, and always the feeling that just around the corner we're going to get more goals. The score. Bell for Manchester City, Hibbett for Wolves, 1-1. Booth with the free kick for Manchester City. Bell is right in there too. Here's Summerby. And in goes Pardo. And here's a chance for Marsh. And a save again by Gary Prince. Marsh controlled that well because it was sliding at speed across that area. But equally well, Pearce was getting down. Always behind it. Monroe will take the free kick. Dugan again is a target. Booth is certainly Dugan is closely on Dugan the whole time. Wagstaff. Really attacking Pardo, getting his crossover, and that was just over that time from Sunderland. Came just a little too fiercely for the youngster. So a goal kick. Push by Hibbett on Bell, free kick to Manchester City. Doyle with a long free kick there towards Summerby, but it goes off Parkin instead. And while Summerby was looking around, Parkin got it away, but only as far as Pardo. Here's the pass now to Towers. Versus Bailey. Pardo, played for Summerby. And in goes Pearce again making a good safe catch for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Bailey now to Sunderland as Sunderland as Wolves come sweeping forward. Hibbett. Donachie cutting that one out. Hibbett again, played for Bailey. Got Palmer free on the right, and he spotted him. Well, down the wing, but nobody was there. Summerby versus Parkin. And Law to Bell. Beaten by Wagstaff. Parkin there, beating Law again and finding Sunderland. Now there's an opening for Wolves, developing down this right as Hibbett takes it up. Dugan's made the run down there for them. Booth has gone with him. Still with Dugan, into the path of Hibbett this time. Now can Hibbett get a shot in again? It was Bell who had to come right back there. Oh, and pressed it off the line by Doyle. But there was a foul that time by the number 9, John Richards, on Keith McRae. And some nerve showing there as well. Pardo now for Manchester City. Summerby. Bell. Donachie forward, stopped there by Palmer. Oh, and Hibbett wasn't watching. Saw Bill McGarry put his hands to his head then. And here's Francis Lee now for Manchester City. The chip on over the top there. Oh, and Pearce was put in a perilous position there. It looked for a long time as though that was going to drop over his head, and he just lifted himself, all 6'2" of him, just to turn it over. For a corner then to Manchester City. Summerby again taking it. Booth is right in there once more. Bell is in there too. Oh, and again Pearce has done it. Well, they had doubts about this fella, 23 years old today, 6 months ago in the reserves of Huddersfield, and playing only his 14th first-team game for Wolves. They thought he might be a weak link, but he hasn't been so far. Parkin at the near post. City putting on the pressure now. Summerby with the corner. Marsh was waiting there too. And in goes Pearce again with a foot. And it was Tony Towers who puts it well wide. So Pearce has got a lot to remember on his birthday. Certainly had no chance at all with the goal scored for Manchester City by Colin Bell. And certainly a much more relieved look on that Manchester City bench there with Ron Saunders, and on the left of the picture is Tony Book, and there's the rather anxious look on the Wolves' faces. Summerby. Manchester City now beginning to get in their stride, although there are times when they've been coming forward when Wolves still have looked very dangerous. Parkin. Played for Wagstaff. Tricking Pardo beautifully there, but that little chip, almost a little golfer's chip there, but it didn't quite come off for him, and Wagstaff, very keen golfer. Well, that's a free kick given against Tommy Booth for the push on Derek Dugan. Free kick to Wolves. 20 minutes now to go. And nothing to choose between the two sides since Colin Bell has equalised for Manchester City. And Booth is going to be booked, I think. No, he maybe not. He's escaped, and only just escaped. It was throwing the ball away. John Richards had very little leeway when he's gone forward so far this afternoon, but he's always on the hunt for goals, and there's Richards looking for that one. But again, it was Booth who got above him, and here's Towers to Marsh. Lee really streaking down the left. Back again for Rodney Marsh. This is a lovely Manchester City move, and it's broken down with two City players down for a moment on the edge of the area, one still down. It's probably Rodney Marsh who's still down there. Frank Carradis warming up, but that's the normal procedure when anyone goes down injured. In case they have to come off, that at least the player is warmed up. Sure, the Duchess of Kent is enjoying this game as much as anybody here. There is Sir Matt Busby at the back there with a pipe. Well, it's a day away from the cares of Manchester United for him. And I think he's well pleased to see his great old favourite Dennis Law back here in action. Although, in all honesty, Dennis has not done too much to warm his heart so far. Marsh is all right. And here is Rodney Marsh. Well, it's a free kick to Manchester City. But it's only going to be taken when Frank Monroe is prepared to release the ball. As Monroe's already had his name taken, it might be a little dangerous to do that too often. Bailey watching Marsh. Summerby with the free kick. Again, it's a little chip as Law goes in, and Frank Monroe was there to beat it away. Only as far as Summerby dinked in once more, and 3 Wolves players lining up to get that one away, and just a fraction too high for Lee. Certainly Lee has shown so much of his old spring here this afternoon, considering he's been out of the game for nearly a month with that knee ligament trouble. So Pearce with the goal kick. Booth, Dugan, Donachie, Marsh, touch for Donachie. McCall, and now it's Palmer. Stopped by Booth, Marsh again. Glyn Pardoe. Towers, Donachie on the far side. City looking so much better now than they did earlier in this game. Summerby across. Thought for a moment that was going to be a fraction too high for Parky, but he lifted himself just enough to get the contact. And here's Sunderland now. 4 Wolves. Dugan and Richards up ahead of him. That's the ball that he'll hope will put Richards in behind. Doyle marking hard, but not quite hard enough there because he finds Wagstaff. Still with David Wagstaff. Too deep the cross. It's still not out of play. Donachie. Just over a quarter of an hour to go. And here's Hibbett, brought down by Donachie. Free kick. Manchester City, 1 or 2 of the players thought that was a dive. If anything, it looked to me rather like a late and desperate piece of work by Donachie. Palmer with the cross, Doyle with the header away. Law, Bell following up quickly. A real up and under there, seeing what Marsh can make of it. But he's got to get possession of it first, and it bounced awkwardly from Monroe, went off his elbow, and so that's a free kick for Manchester City. They've taken it already, and here's Marsh. Played for Summerby. Hit low this time, and again Pearce is there. Donachie playing head tennis there with Booth and using Dugan as the net. An offside decision given by the linesman on the far side against Dennis Law. Free kick to Wolves, exactly a quarter of an hour to go. Still 1-1. Sunderland now, 4 Wolves. To Wagstaff. Pardoe closing very quickly on Wagstaff. Bailey. A little chip there, but I think it'll come for Pardoe. Hibbett, much more competitive in that situation than Rodney Marsh. And a handball given. No, it wasn't a handball, it was a push in the back on Doyle. A little bit of a lull in the game at the moment. Maybe that means that we're going to get a furious crescendo as the sides are still level as we come to the last quarter of an hour. Free kick now to Manchester City. Lee will take it. Law is in there, so too is Bell. Well, Lee won't take it. Summerby will instead. And Lee has gone in there wanting the short ball stabbed forward, but Summerby prefers to find Dennis Law. Corkscrew header of his going about a couple of yards too high. Wolves substitute Barry Powell is warming up now. So Dugan now trying to get Richards away. Booth to Towers. A long ball towards Summerby. Parkin is there with him. Palmer is covering. Sunderland again. Back for Palmer. Dugan. Monroe to McCall. Wagstaff. Bell was backing off him, and here's Bailey. Seeking out Palmer. Well, that'll still fall for Alan Sunderland there for Wolves. The socks about his ankles now, and I think the toll of this Wembley turf is being felt there by Alan Sunderland. Corner to Wolves. Gray, who's had so little to do in this second half. Pardo, the number 2. Dugan and Donachie. Frank Monroe is in there as well, just on the edge of that area. But here's Palmer now for Wolves. Goal kick. Parkin getting it away, so it's a throw to Manchester City. Summerby to Bell. Parkin cutting that one out, but a throw again to Manchester City. The only time these two sides have met previously in the League Cup was in 71-72, and that finished 4-3 to Manchester City. I don't think we're going to get quite that goal storm today, standing at 1-1 still. Bailey looking around, McCall is there too, and finally they get themselves out of a little troublesome spot there by finding Parkin. Bell cutting that out beautifully. But a throw for Wolves. Bailey. Embarrassed there by Bell, but Bailey keeping his head, keeping the ball, and finding Sunderland. Forward now for Dugan. Taken by Booth, free kick without any doubt at all. Now here's Sunderland. Sunderland looking so tired, and he really couldn't make any impact there against Colin Bell, and Donachie can bring it away. Monroe's header, Bailey. Now it's Sunderland again. This time it's Wagstaff on the far side. Oh, and he pulled a muscle as he ran there, Wagstaff. So he's in a lot of trouble. He's off the pitch, and so the game will go on, and Wolves are down to 10 men. The substitute has been warming up, Barry Powell, and I'm sure he'll come on now. But whether it was Wagstaff they wanted substituted, that we don't know. It could be a bit of a blow there for Wolves. Lee for Manchester City. A little chip in again, and very good there. So getting his orders from Bill McGarry as to what Mr. McGarry wants him to do. Towers. Pardo. Wolves still down to 10 men with Wagstaff on and the substitute Wagstaff off and the substitute still not on. Here's Summerby, played this time for Bell. Still with Bell. Oh, and he hits the crossbar. Well, Colin Bell nearly added his second goal, and the second for City there, which might well have wrapped it up. Sheer power of that shot, beating Pearce, smacking against the crossbar. Now it's Bailey, forward for Richards. But Doyle has been quite relentless in his marking. And I'm not sure whether he's got a corner there, but the substitute coming on now for Wolves. Barry Powell coming on for Wolves. And I think Bill McGarry is saying he wants somebody else off. He doesn't want Wagstaff off, but surely that can't be so, because Wagstaff is really hobbling on that far side. Now it'll be Wagstaff who stays off. Powell who comes on. With orders from the bench. And Wolves with the corner now. Dugan is in there, so too are the fists of McRae. Lee, and now it's Towers with his socks about his ankles. Law, bubbling as ever. By that time it was Monroe getting it back to Pearce. It's McCall. Dugan. And now it's Bailey. Hibbett. 7 minutes to go. Powell, virtually his first touch, being challenged all the way. Fairly painful first touch it was too. Challenged just a little too fiercely there by Colin Bell. Here's Hibbett now, with a chance to cross it. Dugan going in on it. And it's finally Towers who puts it behind for the corner to Wolves. And so although it's Manchester City who's had most of this second half, it's Wolves who've come back now in the last few minutes. Still standing at 1-1. Hibbett again with a corner. Dugan again at the near post. Monroe again up there. Monroe having it knocked off the top of his head there by Tommy Booth. Here's Bailey. Crossed in again for Sunderland. And now it's a chance for Richards. Oh, and he's got it! John Richards! 2-1 to Wolves. 6 minutes to go. And as the ball came over from the right, with Alan Sunderland there in possession, it fell nicely for Richards. And my goodness, how he hammered it in. 2-1 to Wolves. Well, John Richards, who had a bad start to the season when nothing seemed to go right for him. He had an ankle injury, and that gave him another fortnight's rest. And since he came back from that in November time, he's hardly stopped scoring. And that now is number 18 in the season for him, and maybe the most valuable of all. So Wolves now, as that really was just a little too fierce, that challenge by John McCall. Just a little bit of a glow settling there on that Wolves bench. I would think they know they've got 5 minutes to hold out. Doyle with the cross. And it was Tommy Booth who came within a couple of feet of getting an equaliser. And that must have flicked off a Wolves player, because David Wallace has given a corner to Manchester City. Wolves who've not won a trophy since 1960. Can they hold on for this last 5 minutes? Doyle couldn't get up to it. Towers now, will he have a shot? Dugan was out at him, forcing him into that error. And there goes Dugan away. 2 against 1, and Donachie is the one defending well. If Dugan could only have played that ball through for Richards, that might well have put it beyond any doubt at all. Now it's Bell taking it up for Manchester City. A flick on again for Francis Lee. And just a fraction wide. So City are really snapping back now. And they need to with 4 minutes left. Parkin, the poor lad who had this what was felt was a heart disorder a year or so ago, but it didn't turn out to be that way. He thought his football life was over. There's again Gary Pearce saving well in his own 6-yard area. But things have gone better now for Derek Parkin, and they're going beautifully at the moment for Wolves. 3 minutes are left. Dugan there with a header. Pardo, Bailey, Powell, and now Richards, the man who scored the goal that could be the winner. Pardo, or rather Parkin forward for Dugan, a man who still hasn't a winner's medal to show for all that he's done in the game. But now Dugan, with this free kick, knows that Wolves maybe are just a matter of 3 minutes away. But with the skill there is in this Manchester City side, no one would dare say it's all over yet. But Parkin now will take this free kick. Played there straight for Powell, hit first time and wide. In any case, Richards was offside. 2 minutes now to go. Bailey's header. Richards. Another lovely swift turn there by Richards, but that time there were 3 City players on him. There was a foul against him. A few more seconds have gone and Wolves get another free kick. So there's a fair bit of looking at watches going up in that part of the crowd now, I would think. Donachie and Dugan. Parkin, a long ambitious shot. And it's with Marsh. Can Manchester City yet produce a magical moment that will save this cup final for them? Not with a pass like that, because McCall, who's hardly let anything past him, stops Law again. Sunderland. In comes Booth. Powell to Parkin. And now for Richards. 1 minute to go plus injury time. Richards watched by Doyle. Still with Richards, eating up seconds, and Doyle has to be positive, even though he concedes the throw. Barry Powell will take the throw. Half a minute now to go. Goal kick. McRae wanting to take it quickly. Away with Donachie on the far side. Some aching limbs out there now, and there are going to be a few aching hearts in a minute or so, unless Manchester City can pull back an equaliser. Donachie as we go into injury time. And a foul by Francis Lee gives Wolves a free kick. And the physiotherapist for Wolves and Sammy Chung both being sent away from the bench. Or sent away to the bench, rather, from the touchline. Mike Bailey, inspirational this afternoon as a skipper. Number 4 with the free kick for Wolves. Dugan again is waiting in that City area. We've had nearly a minute of injury time, and Dugan is there again. Booth who gets up. Foul by Dugan on McRae. Sammy Chung is saying, keep pushing forward, don't drop back. But now they might have to drop back as City take it up again, but that wasn't a particularly good ball. Parkin away. Anywhere, say Wolves, to get away from that danger area, to preserve that 2-1 lead. Played over a minute of injury time. McCall, will he pass back? No, he'll put it where it's safe. That's another throw then to Manchester City. Just a matter of seconds are left now, as Doyle hits another long ball there. Law was in there, and Parkin can get it away. The whistle is gone, and Wolves have won. Dugan after years of trying, and Bailey after years of trying. Phil McGarry after years of trying. They've won at last, and Gary Pearce, on his 23rd birthday, can't believe what's happened to him. The man they said would be a weakness has turned out to be a strength, and Wolves have won the League Cup. McGarry, who shows so little emotion, and that means it all. He knows the part that Gary Pearce has played, and that shows all the emotion of a winning cup final. 1960 was the last time the Wolverhampton Wanderers won a major trophy, and now they've won another that sees them in Europe next year. The man who's made it really has been, oh, there's a great shot there, Phil Parkes, the goalkeeper who would have played but for injury, and Gary Pearce, the man who took his place and really excelled himself. Manchester City, who came here as favourites, dreadfully disappointed, and Willie Donachie sums it all up there. Derek Dougan. Not one of his greatest games, but one I'm sure he'll always remember. As he said, when you finish playing, people say to you, what have you won? And at last he can say, well, I've won something. John Richards, the man who scored the winner. Dougan there with Derek Parkin. And there's nobody happier in the world of football than Gary Pearce. So poor Ron Saunders in the brown coat there, a man who brought Norwich here last year, and they lost. He's brought Manchester City here, and they lost to us. Mike Summerby now. So Mike Summerby takes his Manchester City side up the steps towards the Royal Box. The losers go up first in the League Cup final to get their losers' medals. But they too contributed to very good cup final indeed. Getting their tankards from Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent, being congratulated to by His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent. Summerby followed by Keith McRae. No chance with either of those two goals. Willie Donaghy and Francis Lee, who came back from injury. Tony Towers and the irrepressible Dennis Law. Tommy Boo and Mike Doyle did a grand job at the back in defence. Glyn Pardo, Frank Carolus the substitute, and Colin Bell. But up go the Wolves now, the winners on the day, led by their skipper Mike Bailey. Of Kent. And who knows, it could be the start of a whole new era for football at Wolverhampton. Back tomorrow. To John Ireland, the chairman of Wolves, nobody more delighted than he. Seen some thin times with Wolves, so too has Bill McGarry, but now it's all beginning to blossom for them. David Wagstaff behind him. When you think of the years he's had in the game without any really tangible reward, and here's Gary Pearce, Frank Monroe wearing Dennis Law's shirt, Alan Sunderland and John Richards, the man who scored the winner. John McCall quite magnificent in defence. Derek Dougan hugging his chairman there. And Jeff Palmer, the fullback. They really all played superbly as a team. Kenny Hibbert, who scored the first goal. And credit to Dave Wallace, the referee from Crewe. He and his two linesmen worked well also as a team, kept it running smoothly. Mike Bailey with the cup. And a good sporting gesture there from Manchester City, applauding the winners, Wolves, on the day. Well, he didn't forget much, but he forgot his boots there. National anthem again. as Wolves will begin their lap of honour. The losers going off. Ball is one of the saddest sides, although there's enough light-heartedness in the Manchester City side for it not to worry them too much. They'll recover. Well, that's about the only time Wolves have let their skipper down today. For the photographers to say, will you kiss the cup for us, Mike? What a great day for him. And when you think of the likes of Derek Dougan and Mike Bailey and David Wagstaff, who've really served the game so well for so long, that at last they have got a winner's medal. David Wagstaff and Mike Bailey, two of those heroes for Wolves over the years. Not just on this afternoon, but over the years as well. And number 8, Alan Sunderland, who could be a hero for the future. Support from their fans in the Midlands all through this game, the Wolves.
John, tell us your reaction to all that.
Fantastic. I still can't believe it. You know, it's been a long road to the Wembley. You know, we've played that many matches, and today was the crowning glory. We all wanted to get to Wembley, and we achieved this. But winning it as well is a fantastic bonus. All the lads are really thrilled.
Did you feel it was slipping away from you in the second half a bit?
Yes, I did, tell you the truth, because after the first goal, when we scored, I thought we could have held on to it the way we played the first half. But when we came out the second half, I think we were a bit tired, you know, we relaxed a bit. And Law got that goal, then Bell hit the bar with that cracking shot. You know, I'd have thought, we'll do well to get a draw, you know, and take it to the replay. But just managed to sneak one in at the end. That's
Tell
all
us
that
about
counts.
that, just sneaking one in. Tell us how you got there.
Well, Alan got the ball and did a fabulous run down the right and pulled it back. And I think one of their players got a touch to it. I don't know who it was.
Just a touch, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Marsh, who knocked it back into my path. And I just knocked it into the other corner. I couldn't run away. I still couldn't believe it. I didn't run away to the crowd because I didn't believe it was in.
Very much so. And now what?
Derek, you were saying in the week that you've played in the game a long time and nothing really to show for it in terms of winners' medals.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out well now.
Yes, really it's like a fairy tale come true, really, Brian. I mean, the 7 years I've had at Wolverhampton Wanderers, it's been like a honeymoon. I think that's sort of reflected in my play. I only wish really I had had the old legs about 7 years ago and said it today, but it's certainly worth waiting for. And I did say to you that it would be a good spectacle. I thought it was a good advert for the game. And when I saw Malcolm Allison tip Manchester City, and I knew we got a great chance. And plus the fact, how can the leading coach in the country say that Francis Lee, who's been out for 4 weeks, be the man of the match? I thought maybe if he had plumped from Mike Summerby, it'd have been probably a little bit more on target.
Tell me, who do you think was the man of the match?
Well, I honestly felt really that a lot of our youngsters did a fine job, but Gary Pearce, undoubtedly, he played exactly like that at Manchester United last week in the league match, saved the penalty kick. I've said to Phil Parkes and Gary Pearce, if they come for crosses, they could rate with the best of them. But that's the difference between a good goalkeeper and a mediocre goalkeeper, is coming and getting them, Brian. It's like strikers. If they don't stick their head in where the boots are flying, they'll never score goals. And it's the same thing with goalkeepers. And I thought really dominated the penalty area. And I'm delighted. I mean, obviously that kid now, 14 games, he's got a major honour. It's fantastic. He's had 14 games. I've had 17 years to wait. That's how it works out in football.
But even after 17 years, what is winning at Wembley like?
Well, Mike Bailey, really, he summed it up in the bath. He said that's what it's all about. You get guys who play years and years and years in the game, and they never experience that. Just the walking out on the turf, seeing 100,000 sea of faces is a fabulous spectacle. It gets you inside, and you realise that all the sweat, toil and tears is worth it. And I would personally soldier on another 17 years if I thought that was at the end of it. It's a wonderful feeling.
Would
It's a
you say
wonderful
it's the
experience.
greatest moment of your career?
No, really speaking, the greatest moment of my career personally for me, because football's a team game. I think the greatest moment for me was when I was made chairman of the Professional Footballers Association 4 years ago. But in footballing terms, obviously it makes up for the 14 years ago when I was on a losing side. I know what it's like to be on a losing side at Wembley. The other fellas haven't experienced that, only Jimmy McCalliog. And I was talking to Dennis Law and Mike Summerby, and I think that they were delighted really for us to win that. And when you see football played in that spirit, if only the supporters could see the what shall we say, the enthusiasm from the Manchester City afterwards for our team, it was a wonderful sight. And I really do believe that there's an awful lot of good feeling in football amongst footballers, contrary to what you read in the media.
See you in 17 years' time at Wembley.
I doubt it. As a spectator, yes.
Well done, Derek.
Thanks very much, Brian. Thanks very much.
But what's your reaction now, the day after winning at Wembley?
Well, I'm very thankful, to be quite truthful, because had I have not won yesterday, that I think I would have been wasting my time to stay in football.
Really?
I think that I've been trying to win things so long now that, and also in my playing career, I didn't win anything. I played about 600 games and never won a thing. And I've been in 2 semi-finals and a final and haven't won anything. And I thought, well, if I don't win this cup today, then I think I'll pack my bags and go to South Africa somewhere out the way.
You really believe that in all seriousness?
Well, I think, you know, that you get riddled with this thing, oh, he's a loser, he's a loser. And I think if I'd have got the sack from Wolverhampton, nobody would have employed me, because I wasn't going to win anything anyway, to be quite truthful with you.
Bill McGarry, you're a winner now, and thank you very much for coming to the studio today.
Thank you for having me.